Oh my God, Mitch, I'm sorry. I was just so surprised to see you standing there.
Not as surprised as I was.
You got that Baywatch podcast, that's where it's at. You got that Baywatch podcast, that's where it's at. You got that Baywatch podcast, that's where it's at. You got that Baywatch podcast, that's where it's at.
CJ, it's beautiful up here. You're gonna love it, huh?
Yeah, it's beautiful, but I miss the beach. You should come back to Baywatch.
Well, I get to say it now. Welcome back to Baywatching podcast.
Oh wait, hold on. Should we do the clap thing or no? You don't need to do those.
I don't need clap, yeah. But now everyone will know our secret because I'm going to leave that in.
All right.
I did a beautiful intro. It was wonderful. I debuted it.
Or you could start it again, starting now.
Again, welcome to Baywatching podcast.
That was great. That was much better.
Okay, I'm Andrew, Baywatcher Andrew.
And I'm Bill.
That's Baywatcher Bill. And let's see. Let me read to you an intro here for our day in 1989.
We don't watch the Bays. We watch the Baywatch.
We watched the Baywatch.
And we want to see what other people who were watching the Baywatch when the Baywatch was being watched on live on TV, what they were watching or what they were up to.
Right.
That's in 1989.
As you know, if you've been with us now, we do start the episodes that way. But I'm pretty close to the Bay as we talk about Baywatch and watch Baywatch. I'm kind of Baywatching from the Bay area.
Yeah, you can almost see your
San Francisco
Bay from your house.
But on that day of the Bay, what was going on? The same fucking people were in power. What is it? October district judge Alcee L. Hastings was impeached for accepting a $150,000 bribe from Frank and Thomas Romano because they were being tried for 21 counts of racketeering, and they wanted a lenient sentence. So they bribed this fucking judge, right? And he was impeached. I just thought it's like regular interesting. It's not the craziest thing, but you never heard about this politician. So let's talk a little bit about this guy, Mr. Hastings. He aided in racketeering, right? So he obviously was impeached. Then
he was a judge, you said, right?
He was a judge.
He was trying like the
US
case or
judge. And he was the judge in their case, these two guys' case.
Right.
And then was bribed.
Were these guys mafiosos?
They were like, it was like property. When I looked into it, it was like they were engaging in some shady shit, RICO shit that was connected to like fraudulent property and funds. And I'm not sure they owned property in Florida.
But it wasn't like part of like the Gambino, or like
not that I know
of the 90s.
I mean, it was 89, and so it was RICO, and it was maybe somewhat connected, but I don't think it was necessarily mafia. But anyway, after he was impeached, he decided to campaign for Secretary of State, which I thought was funny because, the mafia connection. He, is tried for racketeering, or not tried. He's impeached for aiding in this, for taking a bribe. And then he says, you know what? I'm going to run for Secretary of State under the promise of legalizing casinos in Florida. I just thought it was funny.
After he gets impeached for accepting a bribe, he's I should be the Secretary of State, and I'm going to open us up to casino. Yeah, he seems like the perfect person to set up a casino business with the state government.
And he was a black dude, he's a black dude in Congress. No, then he went to Congress because he didn't win his Secretary of State bill. So he lost, went on to Congress, where he voted to impeach other political figures 3 times, 2 of which were the recent impeachments that made so much news. The impeachment of our beloved president, Mr. Donald J. Trump, Wait a minute. So he was a Democrat, I'm assuming. He was a Democrat from Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Democrat from Florida. Okay.
Yeah. He was on like
For some
the
reason,
Black
I just
Caucus.
assumed that he was this white Republican before you mentioned he was black.
I know. I should have. I remembered when I was reading about him, like, oh, I've got to bring that up because when you're researching someone, the picture pops up, you know it right away. But
Right.
yeah, I withheld that information. Now you know. But there's also a notable moment where he was speaking about Sarah Palin to a conference of National Jewish Democratic Council. He said, if Sarah Palin isn't reason enough for you to get over what your problem is with Barack Obama, this was during, the McCain was running against Obama, and he was using Sarah Palin as a negative example. If she isn't enough for you to get over whatever your problem is with Barack Obama, then you damn well better pay attention. Anybody toting guns and stripping moose don't care too much about what they do with Jews and blacks. So you just think this through. Like, I don't know. He said that and got in big trouble, and I was like, what a different time. He came out and had to apologize because
nowadays that would nobody would even bat an eye at that.
A fucking eye.
Some people might applaud him for it and that'd be it.
And a bunch of hunters would sell a bunch of t-shirts about how like the left is hunting them. Like, look, he's
how the left is trying to silence them and calling them all racist.
Yeah. So he regretted the comments. He said, I regret the comments I made. They were not smart and certainly not relevant to hunters or sportsmen. I love that. Point I made and will continue to make is that the policies and priorities of McCain-Palin administration would be anathema to most African Americans and Jews. I regret that I was not clear and apologize to Governor Palin, my host, where I was speaking. So I guess she was the host of the National Jewish Democratic Council. I don't know, but that doesn't make sense. But I just, it was funny. It was such a different time, right? Oh, and he was notably another moment in his history. It's all just mundane little things. Like that's not.
So is he still in Congress?
He's now dead. He died last year. But in May 2009, Wall Street Journal reported that he spent over $24,000 in taxpayer money to lease a luxury Lexus hybrid sedan. And, and it was a controversy. But he noted that it was completely legal. It was properly accounted for and drawn from his expense allowance that the U.S. government grants to all lawmakers. So it just proves that, like, I don't know, it's just kind of shitty. Like that, like, I mean, maybe it's not shitty. We could talk about it. But he's leasing a Lexus. And a bunch of people didn't like it and wrote about it. And it came out that, nope, it's just legal for you to lease a Lexus as a congressman. It's even if you're a congressman who is the least wealthy congressman on record at the time. So he was in a survey of U.S. lawmakers named the poorest member of Congress, and it's unfortunate. I mean, he's a black man, but he was leasing a Lexus, but he had an average net worth.
Well, in some way, though, I almost am like, I put that as a check in his favor.
It's kind of, it's
that
kind
he
of
was
like
the poorest congressman honor, because right? Look at like people like Matt Gaetz.
Exactly.
Who everybody's like, when he cried about his money, all this money being stolen from him, and it was like they did the math, and it was like more money than he possibly could have ever accumulated it with his salary as a public, as a lawmaker. It's like, that money's coming from bribes and from other shit.
Right.
So the fact that this guy like was one of the poorest, like individually poorest.
Yeah.
Makes me think maybe he wasn't accepting that many bribes, and he was just like, well, hell, they give me this budget. I know it would look better if I got a hybrid Toyota, but Toyota makes Lexuses. Yeah, I'm going to get a fucking Lexus.
Yeah. He's kind of, in some ways he's a Robin Hood, but
a little bit. He's a little bit, maybe both Robin Hood and Robin the Hood.
Robin the Hood. In 2018, his average net worth was negative $7.5 million. Negative. His congressional financial disclosure indicated that as of 2010, Hastings did not have any earned income and had a bank account with a balance of between $1,000 and $15,000. He owned several $1 million in debt, or owed several $1 million in debt due to legal fees from attorneys stemming from his impeachment charges. So that was a cloud that weighed over him. And, at least, some of his money, though, he helped out his fellow family man, because there were a lot of nepotism claims that were brought against him. In 2012, he was ranked number 1 out of 435 members of the House of Representatives for paying salaries and fees to family members, right? So according to a conservative watch group, Judicial Watch, so maybe they have a bone to pick. It was reported that he paid his girlfriend $600,000 over a 4-year period. She worked as a deputy district. She worked as an attorney, as his deputy district director. So maybe she was doing good work, Maybe this conservative watch group was.
Yeah, I mean, both those claims about don't necessarily I mean, honestly, I'm like, okay, you're a dude. As long as he wasn't doing other shit on the side that we just don't know about, which his massive debt, and maybe I want to think this. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. We don't know, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, maybe he learned his lesson from getting impeached for that bribery shit and was like, I'm gonna be above board. I'm gonna play by the book, but I'm gonna stretch that book as far as I can.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna rent a Lexus because it's totally legal. Yeah. And I'm gonna employ my girlfriend and my nieces and nephews as staff in my congressional office because it's totally legal.
Right. Yeah, why not? Because the people
and he's giving back, and these people, his family. I mean, yeah, he's a black man. He's his family's probably black. Maybe he's helping them out. I don't know. I don't really. That to me doesn't bother me so much, and I can kind of give him a pass on all that. It's not a big
deal. I'm sure the people bringing it up, they're just these moose strippers out there that they got a bone to pick because they're picking that moose bone. So now they got a bone to pick, with our former district judge. Because
and I mean that comment puts me in his favor, definitely.
Oh yeah.
So I mean I don't know.
Against the members of our audience who are stripping moose right now. I know some of you are probably listening right now. You're stripping a big old moose right now.
And if that's the case, let us just say that we don't endorse his comments in any way, even though we've blatantly endorsed them several times already.
Yeah.
That was obviously a joke.
Yeah, and send us some moose jerky.
Yeah, or oil. Yeah, you make oil
moose
out of moose fat, right?
Yeah, moose fat. Any moose oil salesman out there who can kind of convince us that that'll help us better our lives? Well, maybe we'll be able to drink our own piss if we just have the moose oil first. If you drink your own piss, it will. You won't really be able to get the health benefits of piss drinking until you get the moose oil supplements. Do you know what I mean? That's the grift for piss drinking. If you think about it,
I was more thinking
telling people to drink their piss. You have to say your piss is really inert right now. And if you take my supplements, you'll be able to start drinking your piss. It's going to fucking cure COVID. Do you know what I mean? That's the piss drink grift.
Yeah. Yeah, because this idea of telling people just to drink bleach or drink their own piss to cure COVID is not making anybody any money.
No.
And that's the problem with that idea.
Exactly.
Is it no one's making money?
Right.
I mean, it's a fine idea if somebody was making money off of it. But the fact that people are just out there telling people to drink bleach or drink their own piss.
Right.
That's stupid if you're not making money. You're right. So that is the thing to do. You say, buy my magic pill that you take before you drink your piss.
Exactly.
And then it will make your piss work.
Right. All these piss.
That is it. And the magic pill is just a fucking bullshit placebo.
Right.
Or moose oil that you have. It's super expensive.
Right.
And you can only buy it from me and my special moose breed. And it takes 5 moose to make one little thing of oil. That's why it costs $50,000.
Oof.
And that's why we need you moose strippers, you moose hunters out there who are listening to send us your moose oil.
Right.
So that we can then sell it to other gullible fools for extorted amounts of money and make money off of them.
Right. And we're just announcing it so we don't look like gullible fools when we pay exorbitant amounts for your moose oil that we don't verify where it comes from. Because we won't. Just send us, It doesn't even have to be oil.
Send us your moose oil and tell us how much you want.
All right. Well, we're talking about moose oil. We're talking about kind of mundane political figures, and it's because it's a good episode of fucking Baywatch. Not great, but a little more about the intro. It was written by someone I fucking don't even know. The only other thing I could see
it had a totally different opening.
Well, here's the thing. Well, 1 second though, because it was written by someone who only wrote Flipper. It was directed by a director who directed some Star Trek. We're starting to see things some Next Generation, and a famous X-Files director by the name of Kim Manners. So,
that's why. Okay, so Flipper, you almost like
writer.
That's almost like Touched by an Angel. That's like that's more not theme. That makes more sense. I could see that more closely related almost. Yeah. But it's like I'll throw that one out. Yeah. I'm not interested. I expect Flipper. Garbage.
Yeah.
But when you mention Next Gen Star Trek, it's like, oh, well, there might be some good writing here. And that's why this one didn't jump out as shitty, maybe.
Right.
Or as shitty,
Right. And what did you, God, you said something else before, Bill, too, and I just fucking left my mind. What did you say before? 2 intros. Yeah, how fucking crazy is that? You've got the intro theme song, and then right after that, we now have a second intro for the first time ever on the 5th episode or whatever, right? We have after the intro. How weird was that?
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, okay, I wasn't sure if we're now doing an elongated intro from now on, or if that was just for this episode.
It's going to be, here's an award that this episode gets. It had 5 musical montages. It's the most musical montages any episode I've seen so far has had. So we are at 5 musical montages as the most. And it was incredible because we start off right off the bat, one after another.
Yeah, we start off with the theme song, which is one, and then you have another one just right for no reason.
Yeah.
Then we have the kids. I know one I took note of was the Kids Joyride was a musical their boat joyride.
A wonderful upbeat song that was a wonderful contrast to the conflict and drama that we would experience on the island.
Oh, yes.
Also, right after that second musical interlude, David Lynch beach shot. Dramatic music and strings as slow motion water comes in and out because we're getting into the same villain as last week. Essentially, it could have been the same fucking guy.
Yeah, it was very hard. Wait, well, it was all of these villains are the fucking same actually. Because I was like, wait, who was the villain last week? Because I was thinking of the one from 2 weeks ago, who the Sea-Doo guys, or 3 weeks ago.
I mean, they could all be. They should all be the same guy.
Just one villain that's constantly battling the ocean. Who's the other main character?
Yeah, or they could be like some manifestation of the ocean that's running free. It's always the same villain,
like the evil part of the ocean that escaped or something, and now the other ocean's like trying to get it back. Yeah, that would be so much more interesting. Baywatch, God damn it! Why didn't Damon Lindelof work on you? But fuck. Anyways, I guess they're just slightly different villains who you just are similarly one-dimensional and almost they reminded me of the Sea-Doo villains or the jet ski villains because they had that same duo dynamic. It was a pair, and one was like not quite as villainous. Like they even had a line where one of them was like, "Come on, I didn't even want to kill him in the first place. Like, you want to drag their bodies up there? I didn't want to kill him in the first place. You never do.
Never want to kill anyone."
Yeah, like the pure evil one, and then there's the one that has like a chance of remorse.
You murder pooper.
But yeah, the poo-pooer on the murder. But it's like you didn't even get as much, at least at the Sea-Doo guys, because they were like befriending Hobie. You got a little bit of like development of their character to know who they are. But these guys, it was just like out of nowhere, they're just robbing some rich lady on a yacht.
And presumably murdering those people, I guess, right? Because their bodies are found all over the island, right?
I guess that's whose bodies are on it was we say it was the best written one, but it was still not well written. I watched it with Ange, and she was like just making fun of it the whole time, and I was like apologizing for it.
It was laughable often. But it was like, well, okay, we were talking about this before we recorded. I think we're just getting endeared now to some of these characters, to Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why I kept appalled when Andrew's making fun of it. I was like, oh no, you don't know, this is his ex-wife. Like this, I was like, no, it is. But she's like, oh, that's supposed to make it. Like, no, it is bad. But I'm just saying that now, like, you're right. You kind of now are just like, oh, I love these characters. They're gonna say something goofy and dumb, and I'm gonna probably laugh. I'm anticipating it with joy now.
But one thing I can't get is like, we need to know more about Mitch and his ex-wife, because I don't understand what her problem is with like Mitch's life, with like, you know what I mean? Like Mitch is like a respectable like lieutenant or whatever, right? At this fucking Baywatch lifeguard organization.
Yeah.
He has a really good job, a real nice home. You know, I don't understand what's so bad about like life. I don't want my son to live a life at the beach. Like so much so that she doesn't even want to like split custody. Like, you know what I mean? I don't get her beef.
Right.
And in the end of the day, all she needs is a cuddle. Like, you know, she just wants to be cuddled by me. It's very confused by their relationship.
Well, yeah. Well, let's get into it more as we talk. And we'll go into that, because that was really the best part about this episode, was that you did get more of that character development with Mitch, and like who he is, and his relationship with his ex-wife, and what's going to happen with Toby.
Right.
And you got that. So that was more. So we'll keep talking about that throughout. But like, I'll say this for now, because I kind of want to talk more at the end, where they do like just, I guess we'll work it. It's like that horrible ending that this show is very typical of, just like throw up our hands ending kind of.
Yeah.
And
you owe me $100.
That's like. Or like that, like another kid with like, I'm sorry, Dad, you were rash. Jesus. But we'll get to the ending here. But I'll say this about like Mitch's and them, because it like all we really got from Mitch before about like why they broke up was that that he was like only doing the fun stuff with Hobie, that he wasn't basically taking on any of the parenting roles and wasn't acting like a father, and was acting more like a friend to Hobie,
right,
and leaving all of those parenting responsibilities on Mom. And that was we don't really know like what other relationship stuff. We just know that was like, as far as the parenting relationship went, that was where the problem was.
We find out.
But I don't know what other relationship problems, because then Mitch says
the way we were going, right? Like, the way
we were going. Exactly. The way we were going, Hobie might have, been worse off if we stayed together. You might, and it's, so it makes it seem like that they were having just a personal in between them. It wasn't, the fights weren't necessarily about how to raise Hobie, or you're not doing enough for Hobie.
No, they were.
It maybe was like issues with maybe his lifestyle or him. Right. And then he even says, and then like when they're on the boat together, looking for Hobie, and they're having that moment alone. And it's really the first moment alone that we see them have since the pilot episode, when they're on the beach driving around looking for Hobie, because Mitch lost him again.
Right.
It's like the only time they spend together is when Mitch loses the kid and they have to go look for her.
And there's presumably one moment where like she's just been like waiting nervously at like the lifeguard station, and like have you told her yet? Like, she remember that moment? Like, no, I haven't told her yet. Like, Mitch, and it's like nighttime, and it's been like all day, and like she's just been waiting around. Like, what's she waiting for? She still doesn't know Hobie's missing, or you know what I mean? Like,
like why is she like not bugging him? Like,
she doesn't seem like the typical like partner in a conflict, like that you would expect. She's very like passive.
No, and I have a lot of prior experience, in divorce, like dealing, like working in family law, and like, I mean,
the energy that I remember from last time was like that. No, like that she's shifted now. She's, she was more more teeth before when we saw her.
Yeah. Well, they've got a weird one, and like every relationship and like is different, so it's not like but it's like it seems weird. It doesn't, like, from my experience in family law, like the idea that where she like is coming ahead, she's like, we first see her because she comes into Mitch's office saying like, And he's like, oh, I thought I was going to see your lawyer today. And it was like, yeah, he's coming later, but I wanted to tell you this first.
Yeah.
I'm going to move, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, like, that just doesn't really happen. Like, why would you do that? Why don't you make a phone call? Like, why would it just seemed very weird. And then the lawyer never showed up.
Yeah.
He
That's
never
true.
showed up.
Yeah.
So it was like almost like the writers just forgot that they set up that.
Right.
And like, because why? Because Mitch was like all prepared. He had his lifeguard buddy who was now going to be his family law attorney, Greg, our old our lawyer guard.
The meeting in a bathing suit. You're gonna, she was all pissed at you're gonna do this.
Yeah, yeah. He makes a joke like, "You're my lawyer. You have to wear a suit." Right? Well, you have me on duty today.
It's part because we're realizing that this world is a fantasy world and it doesn't operate with the same laws that we operate on. So in Baywatch, when a conflict occurred, like Hobie going missing, the lawyer knew not to come. You know what I mean? He received like sort of.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like the writers forgot that they needed to like. I mean, I guess maybe wife called.
It's just so
the lawyer and was like.
It's so well. It's just so well written that the lawyer knew not to show up. He's like, there must be a conflict going on, and my story.
I mean, I guess you don't need to have a scene where like the wife calls the lawyer or something. But
But it just seems like she went from being very concerned about figuring this out to like getting more evidence that like Hobie was in a dangerous situation, like. And then for some reason,
but now like completely changing her like mind and being okay with it. Yeah.
Somehow that was like,
and that's why I brought that lawyer up, because it seemed like, that's why it was unusual to me that she would do that. And like people in my experience, like dealing with all these family law clients, they wouldn't ever do that.
Yeah.
Like, like you wouldn't, like the reason you have the lawyer is so they can break this news, so that they can have this discussion. They would be scared to talk to their ex-husband about this shit because they're going to yell at them and be like, just like Mitch fucking did. And that's why they want their lawyer there.
Right.
So it just doesn't make sense. And then the fact that the lawyer never even showed up just further like speaks to your point that it just, it seemed like they like had to make it seem like, oh no, I'm still lawyered up. I'm still having my lawyer come to talk about this, but I want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you first. And then by the end of the episode, even though nothing's changed other than like my son got lost under your care again,
right,
I now will want to reconcile with you,
right,
because I don't know, the writers want the story overall to move in that direction,
right? I think because
that's like what it seemed like her motivation was.
Right.
None other than the writers told me to do this.
I think because what we need is like a character that is going to be kind of a passive threat, but not too big of a threat. We need it to resolve
some conflict.
Yeah. In the future, we're probably going to hit a bump in the road again, but not a big deal,
Oh, yeah.
So we need her to
Definitely.
keep being there, but also not be too threatening. We kind of need her to like Mitch. I think because Mitch was kind of starting to look like a little bit of an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think we kind of needed this to revamp Mitch, to make him look a little bit
right.
Like,
yeah, because that was our comment with our last episode with the Sea-Doo guys, where we got to see where Mitch talked about his parenting and not being the responsible one. And like, yeah, you started to think, it sounds like, yeah, you were a dick. No wonder she left you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're just off with your buddies at the beach all the time, and then the only time you hang out, you spend with your son is taking him out to the beach with your buddies.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, we needed to see this, but honestly, I don't think it was really much. Like, what we need to see Mitch doing is more of like what they tried to show him doing in that last episode, him like doing his homework with Hobie,
right,
like teaching him like I know, like you got to respect your mom, you have to still go with your mom, do these things, like you can't just hang out with the beach with me because I'm not gonna just hang out at the beach with you. I'm gonna make you do these other things that are gonna be good for your development,
right,
because I'm co-parenting with your mom. That's what would make us like him more. But instead, it's like, no, he's just fun lifeguard guy. And then we just have a moment where the two of them are on the boat looking for Hobie. And she's like, and he says, well, maybe if I wasn't a lifeguard, we wouldn't have broken up. And then she's like, well, I'm sure it's glad you're a lifeguard now. Wait, what?
Right.
What?
Right. I'm like, see, it's confusing.
This is so, yeah, It's like, wait. So I broke up with you because you're a lifeguard beach bum who was not taking care of being responsible for our son, and now you continued that behavior, got our son lost, but
Right.
I'm fucking glad that you're a lifeguard just because, we have to find our son.
Right.
Like,
How
what?
and how
It's like
privileged.
it's like they felt like that line was necessary to make it be like, well, she's coming around, but it doesn't make any fucking sense why
That's why
she would be
the only other thing they wrote was
so
fucking
weird.
Flipper TV show, Revival, 1990s. I mean, but yeah, and what about Hobie? Like this privileged fucking kid who, without like the benefit of like Los Angeles County helicopters, lifeguard boats, all of this technology, his life would be over countless times. Like he's depending upon all of this infrastructure. You know what I mean? Like it's like this fucking kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so how many other kids are dead because they don't have all of that? You know what I mean? Like in this.
Well, yeah, I wondered that too. Like how much, how many, like, how much extra like attention is this kid, like the search for this kid getting?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank God that one black
I mean,
kid was with him. That one black kid and the girl on the island.
Yeah, if it was just the black kid and the girl. I mean, the girl was from a rich family.
Pretty well off
so-
too. Yeah, she had the yacht. Right.
Yeah.
That's what.
Which let's talk about that. Like, the kids just all of a sudden like, oh yeah, like let's go back a little bit because we kind of we covered like Mitch's the relationship in that storyline. Let's get back to the little kids here for a second because it's like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Toby's got like a new best friend now because like we don't really ever get to see Toby's friends. It seems like something to come and go. We haven't really got too much. So now we get introduced to like this black like best friend of Hobie's.
Yeah.
And this girlfriend that he has.
Yeah. She's nerdy.
It seems like a different girl, and she's different than the one who he was like gonna rub suntan lotion on.
Oh yeah, it's different for sure.
So now he's got this other like girlfriend who's like a little nerdy blonde girl from a rich family. Her dad's got a yacht. And this is how the kids get the fucking yacht. And it is so insane on so many levels. So these kids are like 12. Now, I'm a rich dad. I got a 12-year-old daughter. I want to take her out fishing with my yacht. Hey, little girl, 12 years old. I got to go off to work now. It's Friday, but we're going to go fishing on our yacht on Saturday tomorrow. Why don't you go run along, hang out with where, I don't know what you do. You probably just hang out with lifeguard kids. I don't know. Go hang out on the beach with your friends, unsupervised. But before you do that, take the keys to the yacht,
gas that
and
baby.
go put some gas in it. Because we're gonna go fishing tomorrow. I don't want to be bothered putting the gas in myself before we go fishing tomorrow. Let's save some time. You go do it after you're done hanging out with your beach bum friends. My 12-year-old daughter.
It worked the last 10 years since she was 3. We've been doing this shit. This is the first time we had it. Yeah, it's absurd. Like why is she?
And it seemed like it took all 3 of those kids working together to get that boat launched.
Yeah.
And then they fucked up and didn't set the anchor properly.
Right.
And it floated away. So it's like, what the fuck was that father thinking? It's not like she stole it, because that would have made sense. It's not like Ferris Bueller's Day Off where he takes his dad's Ferrari against his wishes. No, it's fucking like the dad gave his 12-year-old daughter the keys to the yacht and instructed her to take it out on her own.
He was never held accountable.
He deserves to have his daughter killed, dude. Like, I almost like wanted something bad to happen to her so that like he would learn a lesson. I don't know. I want to see that fucking father, man.
I don't even remember.
That father should have lost his kid.
I don't even remember seeing the father. Did he ever show up?
No, you don't. But he should have the CPS should have been called on him or something. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I remember the black family. I remember the black kids' family running up and like, greeting him. And of course,
yeah.
I don't remember her fan. Like, what, maybe Maybe she has a tragic tale, you know. She, you know, her dad is like so neglectful and rich up in his, you know, mansion, like business.
Yeah, for all we know, that was like the 5th time they were supposed to go fishing.
Yeah,
and he kept just canceling, and
he was glad that he was missing the island for a day. He didn't even realize because he was going to cancel anyway. He had to go.
Exactly. For all we know, he left her a message like on her cell phone that she left on the yacht saying, sorry, dear, like daddy can't make it fishing tomorrow. In his transatlantic accent that he has, like Mr. Hal.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the kids, that's how they get the yacht. The little girl just pulls out the keys and says, my dad gave me the keys to his yacht, told me to take it.
And they end up
when it comes to the island?
Right. Murder Island is where they're going too. They go to Murder Island, right?
Yeah, it's like a real island. Like Ange knew the island. She was like, she like, asked me if I'd been there.
Channel Islands. It's like it's one of these ones by Catalina over here, but it's a different one.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's what she said. She was like, well, you've been to Catalina, and I was like, I don't know.
But you know, I guess,
maybe that's another location we'll have to go visit.
Yeah, we can definitely
Murder Island.
Ferry out there, you know, and maybe jump off a helicopter onto someone. But I gasped when they I don't know why all of a sudden I was so in it when they uncovered that dead man's old body, you know, the old man's dead body.
Well, I'll tell you, right before they found the dead, before they found the dead man, I thought, oh no, this is now repeat of story of the second episode. Because I thought they were back in a cave.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because at first they fall through like into this cave, and I'm oh no, it's another kid stuck in a cave.
Yeah, and they were pretty confident that they were gonna get out. Like, and I was like, this seems like I would be scared that we weren't gonna get out. But they were, and I thought that was gonna be.
Yeah, like as soon as I found that cave, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, but they were just kind of like, no, we'll probably find a way out. And then they did. Like, so, that's not the conflict here. You know, they're on.
No, then the conflict was, we found a dead person in the cave.
Yeah,
that was just murdered. Yeah, and there's some people, and the boat's gone because they didn't set the anchor properly.
Right,
and so then everybody goes out looking for him. We know, and then the kids come across these two people, or they come across a campsite.
That's right.
And then Angie's like, why do they keep saying like all this stuff out loud? Like right after the audience sees something, then like the characters like will like say it. It's like this is one of those moments. Yeah. Like we noticed that in one of the first episodes where like they have to comment on their messy bachelor pad.
Yeah.
And it's like, this one, it's like, looks like some people are here. Yeah, there's a camp set up.
Right.
Yep. That's what we just are all seeing.
The worst is when at the beginning during the second, to Angie's point, Ange, now a character in the podcast, is Bill's girlfriend, but the worst instance of that was the second montage when it was like real nice, like HD, like lifeguard people moving and seeing their like butts and their boobs. And like the narrator was like, you're getting.
And they looked way more fit, dude. Those lifeguards were like bodybuilder lifeguards.
And the narration is like, oh, you're getting an erection. Like you're becoming aroused. I'm like, what? I know I'm becoming aroused. Why do you need to tell me as an audience member I'm becoming aroused? Like I'm watching this.
Sensual images.
Yeah. But I did have like, they obviously didn't do that, but I did have the thought as I was watching like those montages with like all of that. I'm like, man, I guess in 1989, like this is where you go for this. Like you can't just go, search some porn online. Maybe that's why this was so popular. Don't
you remember even being a kid? Like I remember when I was a kid, and it was like I was like 11 or like 10, and I remember like being up really late at night waiting for like my mom to come home from the hospital when we would watch like the midnight reruns of Star Trek, and like seeing like on like weird ass like channels way up in like the UHF like sphere, like channels 56 and stuff on regular television, like seeing like these commercials for like like a rip-off Girls Gone Wild.
It
was like Wild Party Girls or some shit. And it was just like, but they were all like blurred and censored, but like as a 10-year-old, you're just like, holy shit. And like I was just watching those like and being excited about that, and then like like trying to check out Baywatch or something, or like you get like the fucking Sears magazine bra like catalog. Like, yeah, man, like you did not have a lot of stimulus back pre internet porn days.
And the whole family,
yeah.
husband, wife, kids, they're all watching this show and they're all just getting aroused. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, well, like the conflict, Hobie, Mitch, the divorce.
But yeah, I forgot to mention that, but I remember noticing that in the opening one, it was like I recognized the females lifeguards because like Shawnee, that lifeguard particularly, she's like all bodacious, all like big breast and butt, and like, but like the other, and then the other female lifeguards like attractive, but like not as busty. But then like the 2 or 3 male lifeguards that they have were not regular characters on the show.
Right.
And like there's one who had like a very receding hairline, widow's peak going on.
That's right.
Like, we never really see, and they were all way more fit. Like way more like ripped.
They're like boating,
like buff ass.
They're like boating out.
Yeah, doing like the and then just running. And they were like, because like Mitch, like David Hasselhoff looks fit and like he works out, but he doesn't like look like he works out 6 days a week. Is 5 to 8% body fat. and maybe on steroids.
Do a lot of math.
Like these dudes looked.
Yeah.
What?
He's got to do a lot of math. He's
like, and definitely not our lawyer guard. Our lawyer lifeguard does not look. He doesn't have fucking 18-inch biceps like these fucking dudes had.
I think
that's ridiculous.
That's Greg's friends. Like Greg threw that second intro in. He's like, just throw some of my lifeguard friends in there. He went and did his own videography that he used to.
Maybe,
do.
Or they looked even more like bodybuilders. I mean, they looked like bodybuilders to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you brought up
Shawnee. Yeah, well, let's have a second one with a lot sexier people.
The other thing is not much to mention about it, but those people from Iowa came, and we realized that Shawnee and Foster found these people camping. They had to do 24-hour lifeguard duty together because they couldn't get along. So Mitch made
that was the other like C plot of the episode was
they found those Iowans, right? And then we found out that like Iowans are dumb and uncultured, like. Because they had Mexican food and they were sick for like 3 days. Like, oh, that's what happens to people from Iowa. They can't eat Mexican food.
Yeah, and it was like trying to show the bonding. Like it was kind of a weird thing because like you thought, okay, it was like Shawnee and Foster got in a fight. So we were like, all right, Eddie, I guess his name is Foster.
Yeah.
But they get in like a fight, so then they get stuck. They get put together on like 24-hour, like overnight lifeguard duty. I guess you have to just patrol the beach like at night, I guess is what they're doing. And then they see these like two like this young couple like sleeping under one of the lifeguard towers, and they tell them you can't sleep here, you gotta leave. They're like, we don't have anywhere to go because my idiot boyfriend here. Got all our money stolen and we can't call anyone. And then they don't like food. Then they just like help drive him around in the back seat, and then they let him go. And then that somehow like is supposed to be like a bonding moment between Shawnee and Foster. But like, how do they don't learn anything about each other that makes them like appreciate each other more or have more empathy or understanding for each other? No, they just like help. I guess they both help some other couple in need. So I don't know. It just seemed like a weird thing to bond over. They announce
exactly what it was meant for in the story, though, right? Because at one point, Shawnee says, like, wouldn't it be nice to care for each other and be in love like that? And it's like,
and then he says, hey, and then she says, is it my imagination? We've been fighting less now. See, it worked.
Yeah.
We met this couple that was in love, and it made us realize that we're in love, and we stopped fighting as much. And then Foster says, yeah, no, I'm just tired, because he has to, because that's his character.
Yeah.
And then the audience now knows that they're a little closer.
But
bravo.
We're right to know, and I think it's just great. It's brilliant writing because the keen eye doesn't the keen eye realizes that what's going on is the magic of the ocean again. It's not really these weird Iowans that are doing anything. It's just the magic of the sea that drew them there so that they could impart the magical lesson to Shawnee and Foster. There doesn't have to be a reason because it's magic. It's the ocean. That was the good part of the ocean that was enacted to balance the negative on
because
Murder
they
Island.
did just like want to come out to California.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to go. They were drawn to the ocean and the beach.
Yeah.
It could have been purposeful on the behalf of the ocean to set this up so that our characters could grow.
Right.
Because I think the ocean really prioritizes its things. Like it cares less about the development and growth of those Iowans, and it will use them more as a pawn in the development and growth of our characters, Foster and Shawnee.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, I could see that. So that could be maybe where that came from. But yeah, and then now we get to the end of the episode. That's just the end of that. I mean, it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
And then we get to the end of the episode, which is where the kids make and then this is where the name of the episode comes to too, because the kids are stuck on the island. They realize there's these robbers and murderers there because they find the jewels, and then they take the jewels, which was very stupid because now, and I remember thinking that from it's like the little girl's like, I'm going to take these jewels and give them to the police. It's like, no. Now you're going to alert the robbers that there are people aboard, and you're going to piss them off, and they're going to want to kill you.
Yeah.
It's like, and of course, then the robbers fucking realize the jewels are gone, and there must be someone else here, and they go looking for them.
But it's okay. The kids push a log down the hill.
Oh wait! But before that, they're trying to they get the clever idea to leave a message in a bottle and throw a message that's in a bottle out to sea.
Why is
but the little black kid?
Why is the episode named that if that moment and that act plays such an
did not work? I know. I was very confused. I thought it was going to work because that's the name of the episode.
So weird.
So maybe that was intentional. Like they named the episode that to throw you off and make you think it's going to work.
Yes. Maybe.
But yeah, it was like, but I was like, well, what's the bigger metaphor there? Well, none. It doesn't have any metaphor for like their divorce or custody battle or no. It was just like this little side plot in the episode that was there for a second and didn't work.
In fact, like all of these issues and problems and moments for potential like character development and growth were all just put on hold so that once again everyone and all the resources of LA County lifeguard could go search for
come to rescue this lifeguard's kid that he couldn't fucking keep his eyes on.
Yeah, now I'm starting to realize
and the rich daughter and some fucking rich guy's daughter who he fucking endangered and encouraged to go off yachting by herself.
Right. So now I'm with Mitch's ex-wife, like, yeah, maybe this is a problem, but look at Mitch. He's gorgeous.
I think maybe Mitch should not have custody of Hobie, and maybe that rich guy should not have custody of his little daughter.
But it seems like when
the boat owner,
when she's around him, she's starting to be cast under his spell, and she wants to be held by him. She's starting to think lifeguard is a wonderful profession. It's like it's
yeah. I'm glad you're a lifeguard. And then, that's right. That's another thing Ange said. She's like, well, wait, wouldn't like other people say, like, are the lifeguards going to be the ones that save them? Wouldn't there be like a search and rescue team put out by like the fire department? I had to remind her that lifeguards are the fire department.
Right.
Like they are firefighter, that this is the fire department in action here.
Yeah.
but yeah, so because it's just like, okay.
They are the fire department. They are lifeguards, but I gotta say, it's a bad month for beach cops.
Oh,
bad month for beach cops, baby. I just like that line. Just wanted to had to bring it up. It's a bad month for beach cop, Mitch. Like Mitch and that cop's little just like back and forth is quite cheery and endearing. Like they're little.
Yeah, no, he is probably my favorite character, the black beach cop.
And he just like,
And you throw the gun. Oh yeah, okay. So let's get to let me speed up now. So we have the message in the bottle where the kid tries to throw a message in the bottle. It doesn't make it to the ocean. It hits a rock on the shore, breaks, and then for some reason they throw the bottle right. Not like they don't go to a part by the beach that they can fucking actually reach easily, and it isn't by the bad guys trying to catch them. They throw it from a distance, try to throw it like over the heads of the bad guys into the water. It falls short, lands next to the fucking bad guys, makes a big sound. The bad guys chase after them. The kids try to Home Alone booby trap them by like pushing a fucking log down a hill after them. That doesn't work.
It works. But
it works for 5 seconds.
Because
it buys them about the same amount of time that they spent setting up the booby trap.
But then they throw a rock. Then they throw a rock, and it works for a second too. But then it doesn't work because the one guy's smart and realizes, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like I remember thinking that too. It's like, wait, they've already ran off in the other direction. Yeah. They're already going that way, and now you can go this way.
Yeah.
You've already lost them. You don't need to further distract to like throw them off your trail. They're already thrown off of your trail.
Right.
Like the only thing that might do is exactly what happened. Make them think, oh, maybe they're throwing something from this direction. Oh, let's go in this direction now.
I like how the one guy's like, I don't know. Over there, I hear the feet of like 3 small humans running away. But over there, I hear the sound of one rock falling. I think we should go that way. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like, why did you just stay put for a little bit longer and then slowly start walking in the other direction? But no, let's throw a rock because I saw it in a movie. I'm a 10-year-old boy.
They're dumb kids, and that is, like what it is. He's like, I saw it in Predator.
Right. You're right. He did see it in Predator. He does say that exact line.
He brings it up like.
So I guess that's okay, but it is kind of like just one of those. It's like, God, how dumb these kids. But then, yeah, eventually they start a fire, and that's the one thing that actually works.
Oh yeah.
And I guess they have matches. I don't know how they started that fire, but they have like matches because then later they start another one. They brought matches, I guess, with them.
Yeah.
So they start the signal fire. Then that alerts the helicopter, which Mitch is on with the black cop.
But then they both
and then they go over. They see the people. Then are the kids on the boat? Like, how does the chase wind up with the boat?
Off the island. They boat in the rowboat, and then
the kids set the fire, and then they start setting off in the rowboat.
And then the villain's like, "Go, let's get our boat," right? And then they, I guess, because they have that boat that they got at the beginning of the episode. And
exactly, the fast speedboat.
One guy falls off. I don't know, like the lesser important villain, like falls off.
He gets shot because he goes. Right. He has a gun.
That's right.
They both pull out guns, and the one lesser villain, he goes out on like the front of the ship and starts shooting at the helicopter.
Yeah.
And that's when then the black cop starts returning fire. Right. And our black cop caps him like in the shoulder. He falls off the boat. And then
into the
main villain continues.
The good ocean reabsorbs a little bit of the negative ocean back into it. It's a redemption.
Exactly.
For the ocean.
It returns, yeah, because as we already established earlier, all of the villains are just embodiments of the evil part of the ocean that escaped to land. But yes, so it recaptured some of its villainous through the works of Mitch, and that's really maybe why it led Hobie, and why maybe the kids actually did set the anchor properly. The ocean just lifted it up and made the boat drift away so that Mitch could be led there to kill that guy and return those villains to the ocean where they belong.
You're right. And I'll posit even further that all of these boobs, all the butts and the men that look so sexy that we're watching, it's a beacon that the ocean is using to draw us in so that we can understand its tale. We can understand its origin story and know the truth of this character, the ocean. You know, this is a real life experience that the ocean has orchestrated so that we can know it through Baywatch. Do you know?
I mean, that was why our friend, what's his name again? The creator of the show? Gregory. Yeah, this is why our friend Greg did not get to compete in the Olympics.
Right.
Because they wanted him to become a lifeguard so that he would one day then go to and just go to the Olympics.
Right.
Just somehow go, but not compete. So that way he would get a little bit of a taste, do the documentary slow motion footage that would then spark his Baywatch career and spark the show so that it could then draw more people to appreciate what the ocean is doing for us.
Right. That's it. That's what it's all about. We're cracking it.
It's not even the ocean wrote the fucking show. It's not that the writers thought that the ocean was this character. No, the ocean is writing the show.
And it carefully maneuvered Gregory's life so that he would be in the position to get this show made. So many things. The ocean drowned those kids almost, right?
Big Greg saved that were the kids of the network exec. Yes, that he then pitched the show to. Okay. Exactly. It does really all come back to the fucking ocean. God damn. I'm a little nervous now. I guess it got our attention. It worked.
I mean, why are we what are we in the ocean's plan?
And now we're doing this podcast telling everybody, hey, go back and watch Baywatch. There's something there the ocean's trying to tell you.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. Now it's working its powers on us and we didn't even know it.
Well,
but yeah, so then our main villain guy is still off on the boat and being shot at by our black cop, and he runs out of bullets eventually. And then we have another scene where Mitch gets another opportunity once again, and I think we're gonna see a lot of these where Mitch is jumping from a helicopter onto a boat or from a boat onto another boat. Mitch has to make a leap across one vehicle onto another vehicle over the open ocean and capture our villain. And then doesn't he have like a fist fight with him?
They battle.
I
think I just watched this and I can't remember how the villain is defeated. Really, I mean, I know he gets him by jumping from the helicopter, but
because isn't he like trying to like go ashore? Isn't the villain like trying?
Yeah, like he's speeding all around and like I don't know what his escape pattern or plan is because he does like a bus of U-turns the last thing he does in the boat, and then Mitch jumps on him, and then I feel like we just cut to Mitch back in his office. Everything's okay.
Well, I do remember this because all I have for my notes are another fucking chase ending with Mitch jumping onto a boat to catch the bad guy,
and that's it.
But so I feel like I remember them duking it out maybe a little bit more in this one, but I could be mistaken about that.
Yeah,
I feel like I remember thinking like, oh, they're actually like fighting a little bit. Like I guess maybe Mitch was trained in some fighting as a lifeguard, and then and then there was, and I do remember like the scene, like I remember everything kind of wrapping up in an exterior setting, like outside, like on the beach. Like I don't remember it being like inside his office. I feel like there was some really bad ADR lines. I remember there being right after like the villain gets captured and Hobie's like reunited and everything, and Hobie's like is with Mitch, and like he's just like, I'm sorry, Dad. I shouldn't have like gone off. Like,
oh yeah,
no, he said something.
The family's all reunited. What? The black family reunited.
Yeah, and Hobie. And then Hobie says something like, "I'm sorry, Dad. I just wanted to get away." Like,
no, I know his line. I wrote this line. I was like, "Whoa!" He's like, and he says it like the delivery is like almost like he says it like, "I felt I needed to get away." Like he says it all like despondent and slow. It's like, whoa, like it didn't seem like.
And it's so ADR. It is so obviously ADR. Like his lips don't match up at all to like the lines being said there.
Episode where there was another instance, I can't remember where it was, but like Mitch delivers a line and then like it cuts to him saying a line off screen and the tone of it is all different. There's like a shitload of reverb.
Yeah, that's like this one too. Is like all of a sudden, then like the tonality has changed drastically.
They do that now with
Yeah,
they had done it with like the visuals where it's like they can't get a few frames or they can't get some shots that are
yeah,
so all of a sudden you're watching it in 1989 again and it looks like what it probably looked like.
right. That's more this and I'm not one like like I'll watch The Simpsons a lot and then listen to that Simpsons podcast, and they're constantly like I'll watch an episode and then listen to the podcast and they'll be pointing out this awful looking ADR line, and I did not catch it, I didn't recognize it, but these ones jumped out like bad to me.
Yeah.
At the end there with him and Toby. And it was just again so fucking cheesy, more like, I'm sorry, Dad. Well, it's all right, son.
But then,
And then again, another hand thrown up ending, because like, how are we going to resolve this custody issues between Mitch and his ex-wife? I mean, it seems like now she should be even more like pushing for like him to not have as much custody or have to do like co-parenting classes or something. But no, instead, he fires lawyer guard is his family law lawyer, and then says we're just gonna work things out between the two of us.
No lawyers.
Yeah,
no lawyers. And then
now it seems like she's gonna fire her lawyer. She's not gonna move. She's not gonna take her new job.
And then
I don't understand.
And then lawyer lifeguard says, that's what I advise all my clients. Now you owe me $100.
Fire me.
Now, fire me, not use lawyers. He's like, now you owe me $100. And Mitch is like, what? And it freeze frames on Mitch like, what? It's like one of those. This is one of the ways that the episodes end sometimes is someone tells Mitch something that he doesn't expect, and he says, what? And then freezes on it.
that is a recurring ending now. Yeah, and this was one of those. It was like playful.
I think we're gonna have to start
we've worked
classifying the endings. Like, okay, this was one of those endings, like we're starting to realize the common threads or the things that we are gonna
this is one, just like how we see, okay, this is one where it's a chase that's gonna end with Mitch jumping across the ocean.
Right.
Yeah, this is another one of those endings with then the freeze frame ending on Mitch
and one
being
day
taken off guard.
And then the ocean theme that we're realizing, of course, the deeply entrenched ocean character story. And one day is going to bring
actually wrote this story and is responsible for this podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. We're being paid by Charles Schwab is actually under the ocean's direction as well. The globalists, all of them. Some of our listeners probably don't realize about the global conspiracy that's going on, but it's the ocean.
It was actually the ocean.
Yeah. They're trying to
working through the
global domination is what the ocean is trying to do, and they're working with the fossil fuel companies, man. They're working with all of these people that are abusing this climate. They're melting
rising sea levels.
This is the ocean, buddy. That's the bad part of the ocean.
I think if we go back, we might even see. Where did Adam Smith write? The foundations of the what became like the foundations of our model capitalist world, which is perpetuating the climate change and is why it's so entrenched. He grew up by the ocean.
Wow.
For all we know, capitalism was started by the ocean,
right?
So that it could create like this situation that we're in now, where we are destroying the planet and rising sea levels.
Right.
And I think you might be onto something, Drew.
But the ocean is also very there's a good part of the ocean, and so it does things like, okay, Bernie Sanders, you're in a landlocked, we're putting you in a landlocked state because we might, we need you, we need you to kind of, hopefully Vermont's completely landlocked. Like I'm sure it is, but I don't
know if it is.
Oh, fucking A, dude. It would get, you understand the joke would work if Vermont was landlocked, but the ocean's doing everything it can do, even for good, but bad. The ocean's fucking powerful, the good and the bad of it. We're only alive right now.
Well, I don't think the ocean is anti-human. I just think it wants more control and domination. Maybe we don't know.
It does.
We're gonna find out. Maybe. I think that's why we're doing this podcast, to figure out what's going on with the ocean and climate change.
Yeah, that's the point of this podcast. And that's it.
We thought it was just to watch Baywatch and figure out what was going on with 90s television, but it's actually to figure out what's going on with this character that is, very aware and cognizant, or what is it, like omnipresent, I guess.
Yeah,
to a degree.
Yeah,
and why it's trying to, and climate change, which it seems to be driving.
right. I mean, it's delivering a message, and we're just trying to decipher it and parse out if it's evil or good. So we'll,
and that's why we need to tune in next week.
That's right.
We discuss episode 6 of Baywatch on Baywatching with Bill and Drew.
Right. With Baywatching podcast, you can see us on Twitter at Baywatching P, because there's not enough letters, or there's too many letters for it to be anything else. At Baywatching P.
Oh no.
Yeah,
that might be a problem.
I like it because it makes me think of pee, which there's a lot of that in the ocean too. Maybe that's why the ocean's so pissed, because of all the piss.
And yes, that makes me think that we're watching someone pee in the ocean.
I know,
or off of the bay.
But our handle, when you look at it on Twitter, I mean, Bill, I don't know if you know, but
well, why didn't you just make it Baywatching?
Well, when you see our thing, it says Baywatching podcast, but to find us, our @ on Twitter, you know what I mean, is Baywatching P.
Why didn't you just call us at Baywatching?
The ocean, didn't want that.
Or you just didn't think of it.
Maybe we have to keep listening to find out.
The ocean might have done it. All right. We'll find out next week.
Yeah.
We'll find out what handle we have and if the ocean was responsible.
Yeah, it's going to be a different handle every week.
Yes, sir. Oh, sir. Just one more thing.
Baywatching podcast on Instagram. At Baywatching podcast on Instagram. Bye.